Hello everyone and welcome back to TowerGate. It is TowerGate day number 489. 489. July the 12th, 2018, Thursday. Thank you so much for tuning in. Well, yesterday, most of you know, the video didn't get uploaded till, well, I'm not even sure what time it got uploaded, to be honest with you. But my typical routine is, of course, as you know, I upload the video at night. I get up in the morning. It's done. It's through processing. And I click it, it goes live, and it's available usually around 10 o'clock in the morning. So this morning I get up and the video's still processing. So that means it's uploaded, but it goes through a processing. So normally that takes about 10 minutes. So I'm waiting and waiting, it's still processing, it's not making any progress. So I'm like, okay, well, what's going on, you know? So I wait a little bit longer, but finally I had to leave, and I thought, okay, well, I gotta leave, you know? So I thought, okay, well, obviously something's wrong. It's hung up in the processing. I'm just going to re-upload the video. So I re-uploaded the video. Then when I got home, I got onto my homepage for my YouTube account, and it showed where my video upload failed. The second failed because it was a duplicate. It had already been uploaded. So then I looked to see, and sure enough, the first video that was hung up or stuck or whatever in processing did eventually obviously process and go live. I have no idea what time that happened, but it was frustrating. The last 2 weeks or so, there's been a lot of weird things going on with YouTube, because they, as I mentioned once before, they've got a new interface for people who have YouTube channels, and it's called YouTube Studio. It is in beta mode, testing mode. So every day there's little quirky things going on. It's the first time it totally failed, an upload like that. Actually, it did fail an upload about a week ago, but it happened immediately. I tried to upload, it failed, and then I just very quickly did it again, and it was successful. But for whatever reason, yesterday morning, when I got up, the one was hung up and processing. I tried to re-upload another version, but then the first version came through and processed, and the second version failed because it was a duplicate. Okay, so it's all crazy stuff going on. YouTube is introducing a new interface called Studio, and it's different. A lot of weird things going on. So hopefully this video gets uploaded okay and we don't have any more problems. But if something should happen with the video upload being late or something going on, it's not me. I have the same routine I do every day. It's something to do with this new beta testing with this new YouTube Studio thing that they're doing. So anyway, that's what happened. But hopefully you all got to see yesterday's video, day 488. Probably, I'm not sure what time it uploaded, but probably sometime late afternoon. Okay, let's get to the news. Well, as most of you have probably heard by now, Loose Lisa Page chickened out. She chickened out. She canceled. She did not answer that subpoena. She was supposed to be in a closed session today. And at the last minute, her attorney made Congress aware that she was going to be a no-show. And the reason she gave is that apparently she doesn't feel her client, Loose Lisa Page, is properly prepared, because she says there's been new texts or whatever that have come out that they haven't had a chance to look at. And anyway, that's basically the excuse. She also said that they went over to the FBI, she and her client, that would be Loose Lisa Page, went to the FBI to look at some documents to help her prepare, and that they were not able to. She said they were there 3 hours and never able to look at the documents. Okay, so the other side of that story is that Mark Meadows apparently looked into that, and according to Mark Meadows, he says that's not true. Yeah, they went to the FBI to look at some documents, and yes, they were allowed to look at all the documents that they had asked to see. So this idea that they went there to look at documents and were not allowed to, Mark Meadows says that's a lie. According to what he's learned, they got to view the documents that she wanted to see. Now, we know that she was served that subpoena. They didn't just mail it to her. That subpoena was actually served on her by a federal marshal. Knock, knock, knock on the door, as in knock, 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 you're served. Federal marshal. Uniformed federal marshal served that subpoena to Lisa Page. She's going to now find herself in contempt. You have a couple members of the Congress that want to have her arrested. So I would have to say, as I said before, when I heard they were floating this, that would be really bad advice. Just like I said, it would be bad advice for Peter's been stroking us not to appear. Because now she's going to be a hostile witness. Before, they might have taken it a little easy on her. They wouldn't have actually gone after her. They would just try to ask her the questions and get their questions answered. That's what would happen. But now, you've made them mad. You're screwing with them, and they don't like that. And they got plenty to work with to give her a really tough time. Let's just put it that way. They can give her a really tough time. We also had, and you can bet they will, by the way, give her a really hard time. Because she is going to have to show up for that subpoena. And when she does, the idea that they were going to go easy on her, you can forget it. You can forget that now. So her attorney gave her some very bad advice. Because she's now going to be considered a hostile witness. And she'll be treated like one. Not very well. Things don't look good for Lisa Page or Peter's been stroking us. I think both of them are going to be indicted on multiple counts and are going to go to jail. We also have Bob Goodlatte, who, as you know, Goodlatte's a laid-back person. I mean, hard to really tick him off, but this obviously ticked him off. And he says, when he was being interviewed, he said, look, we first started talking to Lisa Page back in December of 2017. And he said, we have been in communication with her and tried to make plans to get her to come in and testify on 2 to 3 occasions. And what she does is she says, oh yeah, we'll come in and we'll comply with that and we'll answer questions, whatever. But then when it actually comes time to schedule it, she has some excuse, some reason why she can't. So there's been multiple opportunities where they've tried to get her in, and at the last minute, she always pulls the plug. So apparently, this is just standard operating procedure for Lisa Page, who herself is obviously a pretty talented attorney because she was a top lawyer at the DOJ. You don't get to be a top lawyer at the DOJ if you're a hack. So she obviously has some legal skills, and she's got an attorney, but when the two of them put their heads together, deciding that they should not answer this subpoena, I'm telling you, that's a big mistake. She's now going to be a hostile witness, and she'll deserve it. So that's the story on Lisa Page. I imagine within the next week or two they will reschedule her, and she will come in. I assume that will be the closed door session, and then following that, I assume we'll have the open session. Tomorrow, or today, as you're watching this video, Thursday, should be Peter's been stroking us. Should be doing his open hearing. I don't expect he'll answer many questions. I believe he'll lie about the things he does answer. But anyway, we'll be commenting on that tomorrow, I'm sure, assuming I have time to watch the hearings and gather enough information to comment on it. It might be the next day before I get to that because I have to watch the videos. But anyway, we'll be keeping up with both Lisa Page and Peter's been stroking us. They are two prime suspects who are probably, almost certainly, going to be indicted on multiple counts and are going to jail, in my opinion. Well, Mr. Berkman had his little show there on the anniversary of Seth Rich's death, the 2-year anniversary. He had his little function there in D.C., did the whole thing. Now, the witness who was supposed to appear and tell his story did not actually appear there. Instead, he called in on the phone. Called in on the phone. Apparently, his name is Luke or something, or that's the name he's using. And he told his story, which is pretty much the same story that we talked about a couple days ago. But he added a couple new wrinkles. One wrinkle he added is that there was a third person who was involved in the killing. Apparently, there was the DEA agent and the other agent, the 2 agents who did the actual killing, according to this person, Luke, I guess his name is. But there was apparently another person involved who was one who was watching Seth Rich. Apparently, these other 2 guys were camped out close to where Seth Rich lived on the block, waiting for him to, come home. And of course, we know he stayed out very late that night. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning. But there was another individual who was actually watching him. And apparently this other individual watching Seth Rich sees he leaves the bar, calls the other 2 guys, says, okay, he's left and it looks like he's headed home. He's headed your way. At which point they allegedly did the killing. He does say that they took some sort of a device. I think that that's very likely. I said the exact same thing within 2 weeks of his murder. You go back and watch my Seth Rich Part 1, Seth Rich Part 2 videos. You will see, look at the upload date. You'll see, I believe it was in July of 2016. I mean, just a couple weeks after his death. And I made the exact same point. And I never heard anybody saying that. So I don't know if this guy watched my video and got that from my video, or I don't know where he got it. But no one else was talking about that except for me that I know of, suggesting that he had either a laptop or a notebook or some sort of computer on him which had information on it. Maybe he had a jump drive, a flash drive, something that had information on it, and I think that that's probably what they took from Seth Rich. So I would agree with him on that point. But he goes really into crazy land, really into crazy land in this particular deal, because the bombshell that he drops is that there was quite a few more people involved. He does say that it had something to do with Seth Rich downloading emails from the DNC, but he doesn't say or confirm whether he says, yeah, he doesn't know whether or not Seth Rich gave them to WikiLeaks. He just says, yeah, it's because Seth Rich downloaded this stuff from the DNC and it had damaging information and this and that and the other thing, but he didn't say if it had anything to do with WikiLeaks. But the big bombshell that he dropped, which is kind of crazy town, but I'll go there anyway just for the benefit of it. He says that the guy behind it all, or who was either behind it or providing protection for these individuals, was Rod Rodenstein, when he was the U.S. attorney there in Maryland. Rodenstein. Is Rodenstein behind the death of Seth Rich, or is he protecting the people who did the Seth Rich hit? Well, I hate Rodenstein, as you know. But, man, I just don't see that. I just don't see it. I'm trying to see it. I'd like to see it, but I just don't see it. Rod Rodenstein, U.S. Attorney in Maryland, somehow is sick these guys on Seth Rich because he hacked the DNC. I know there's some other stuff, you know, but whew, anything's possible, right? Good luck tying that to Rodenstein, though. He's not that. Rodenstein's not stupid. He's crooked. He's criminal. I don't like him, but he's not stupid. And he would have to be stupid to get involved in something like that. Would have to be absolutely stupid. And I don't believe it, really. I don't believe that Rodenstein had anything to do with the Seth Rich murder, or is covering for those people or anything else. He's got a lot of problems. I have a lot of problems with Rodenstein, but I'm not that far gone that I think Rodenstein was involved in the Seth Rich murder or what have you. I would have to see some really, really good evidence to that fact, and I'm just not swallowing any of this, man. This whole thing, the whole thing, I smelled a rat when I knew Jack Berkman was behind it, and now after, you know, and I know that Jason Goodman, you know, recorded it and broadcast it, and Alex Jones picked it up, and, you know, Jerome Corsi has been all over it, and I know all these people, and they're all over this thing. That's fine and dandy. I mean, it's good entertainment. It's good entertainment. Maybe there's something valuable you can get out of it. But I don't think this brings us an inch closer to finding out what happened to Seth Rich. If in fact this guy, this witness or whatever, had this information, really legitimately had this information, he would absolutely have to go to the cops. I mean, you can't be coming out in public and saying, yeah, I know who killed Seth Rich, and dropping names and doing all this kind of stuff, saying, hey, I think it was Rod Rodenstein, and, you know, but you never go to the cops, you never go to the FBI, you never go to any law enforcement, you're just out there saying it, you know, in a public speech or something. I mean, this is just crazy. It's just nutty. I mean, just, you know, I mean, and I have to assume that if the cops took it seriously, they probably don't. But if they did take it serious, you can bet that they would go up to Mr. Berkman and say, Jack, let's go downtown, brother. We need to talk. You got a witness that you know who says he knows who killed Seth Rich. You can name the guys who did it. He says Rodenstein's all a part of it. Who's your man? Who's your guy? Tell us who your guy is. We got to go pick him up and have a talk with him and see if he's crazy or if what he's saying has any validity at all. It's just sad because, I mean, it's a serious deal. It's a serious deal. And this is not serious. This is some kind of joke. It's a bad joke. It's not funny. Not funny at all. But that is what this guy is saying. You know, Rodenstein. I'm sorry, man. I just can't go there. Just can't go there. Some of you may. I mean, enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride. I'm not going there. Okay, let's move on. Let's see. Federal Judge Emmett Sullivan approves the 2-month extension for the Flynn sentencing. So, it looks like he did approve the extension for the sentencing. That'll happen in about 2 months, which would be, let's see, August, September. Oh, yes, that's perfect. Michael Flynn's sentencing in September. That's very, very good timing. We'll find out what happens between now and then. Because if we find out between now and then that the 302s were altered, and I think a lot of us believe they were, then there won't be much going on with that sentencing. They'll be sentencing Michael Flynn to nothing except for going home a free man. Which is what should happen anyway. Well, it looks like Huma, Hillary's pet Huma, looks like she lied to the FBI in 2016 and in 2017. Yet, she was never charged. Funny, Michael Flynn was charged for lying. Papadopoulos was charged for lying. Manafort's apparently being charged for lying. This lawyer over in London was charged for lying. But yet, Huma, Hillary's pet, was never charged. And we know for a fact that she lied. Why do we know that she lied? Well, thanks to Paul Sperry, who has looked at the now declassified 302s from the interviews with Huma, which were conducted by Peter's been stroking us and David Laufman. Yes, David Laufman and Peter's been stroking us did the interviews of Huma. And in those interviews, she said that she had no knowledge of the Rotten Reverend Clinton's private server until after leaving the State Department. Lies. And we know because there's about 4 or 5 emails where you have Huma, Cheryl Mills, and Mr. Cooper, the IT guy, having conversations about Hillary's server having been hacked, Hillary's server having to be shut down, Hillary's server having problems, the fact they're talking about that they're on the same server, they're talking about the Rotten Reverend Clinton server. So you have multiple conversations with Huma, Cheryl Mills, and Mr. Cooper, the IT guy, talking about the Rotten Reverend Clinton's private server. So you have Huma lying to the FBI. Was she charged? No. She also says that she didn't know how Hillary's emails ended up on Anthony Weiner's laptop, her husband, Carlos Danger. She didn't know how they ended up on Carlos's laptop. She didn't know, huh? Well, if Huma didn't send those to her husband's laptop, to Weiner's laptop, who did? Who did? Who was it that would have sent emails to Weiner's laptop from the State Department, the Rotten Reverend Clinton State Department account, the Rotten Reverend's 2 private email accounts, and thousands of communications from her BlackBerry? If Huma didn't send those to Carlos Danger, then who did? Rod Rodenstein? Come on. Unbelievable. So there we have evidence, more evidence, thanks to Paul Sperry, looking at those declassified 302s, that Huma, Hillary's little carpet munching pet, lied her ass off on multiple occasions to the FBI. No charges for Huma, nor for Hillary, nor for Cheryl Mills, nor for Mr. Combetta, Mr. Pagliano, none of them. Every single one of them lied their ass off. And what did they get? Nothing. But Flynn, Papadopoulos, the lawyer over in the UK, they all get the hammer dropped on them by Uncle Bob the Executioner for lying. Guess it matters who you are, huh? Do you think if you lied to the FBI, you get off the hook? I don't think so. But it gets worse because there's a lot more trouble for Huma. Huma's got big troubles. Big troubles. It appears that there's been a dead woman found in Huma's dumpster at her New York apartment that she shared with Carlos Danger for 16 years. The body was found by a maintenance worker inside of a trash compactor. Police were called to 1 Irving Place in Union Square, where Huma lives and where Wiener lived before, he got sent to jail. This woman, who was found dead in the dumpster, is believed to be in her 40s. The cops do not know how she got there. They are not ruling out high-profile arrests. Why? Because 1 Irving Place is where a lot of rich people live. Poor people don't live at 1 Irving Place. The woman's purse was full of cash. That's interesting. Who else was murdered and murdered and the murderers did not take the cash or anything else that this person had on them that was of value? It rarely happens. Normally when someone's killed like that, like at a back alley or something like that, you don't find any cash on them. All the cash, credit cards, and jewelry or anything else they had valuable is gone. But strangely, in this particular case, and one other case I can think of, there was no robbery, just a murder. She had a purse full of cash. Somebody missed out on a payday. The neighbors told police they assumed their visit was something to do with Anthony Weiner's arrest and conviction. So the neighbors of Huma see the cops roaming around the place, and they're thinking, uh-oh, this must be more about what was going on with Anthony Weiner, Carlos Danger, and his conviction or his arrest or something. That's what they thought the cops were there for. But they found out later the cops were there because they just found a woman's dead body in the dumpster behind the building. The security footage shows the woman walking into Huma's apartment shortly before she was found in the trash. Maybe Huma can explain that one. How can you explain someone walking into your house and then shortly thereafter being found in the dumpster? That's interesting. With a purse full of cash. We'll see how Huma explains that. Maybe they'll get Peter Ben Strokinus and Mr. Laufman to come and interview her. And they can have Andy McCabe write up the 302. Hey, why not bring in Uncle Bob, the executioner, to be her defense attorney? And we can bring in the jury. Yes, we can bring in the jury. We can go down to D.C. and find one of those 99% registered Democrats, or about 10 or 11 of them, and we can bring them in for the grand jury hearings and see if they would be willing to hear the case. Yes, I'm sure we could get maybe the Hillary donor posse to contribute to the legal effort. We could probably have Mr. Rodenstein. Maybe he could step in and offer some defense work for Huma. I'm sure that they could pay for it all, of course, with the money that the Right Reverend Clinton is raising for her presidential run in 2020. She's got 2 super PACs going. There's probably some cash there that she can loan Huma for her legal defense. I'm sure that that's probably how that would work out. So we'll wait and find out what more they learn about the dead woman in the dumpster behind Huma's apartment. The woman having just been, prior to being found in the trash, was seen on security cameras entering Huma's apartment. Maybe they should check for carpet fibers in her teeth. That'd be my guess. Let's see. Uncle Bob the Executioner has filed 250, he's filed for 250 blank subpoenas in the last 2 months. 250 blank subpoenas in the last 2 months by Uncle Bob the Executioner. My guess is that he's going to subpoena everyone that Paul Manafort has ever known in his entire life. Now, keep in mind, 250 subpoenas actually means 125. Because when you get a subpoena, a blank subpoena, you have to have one for yourself and one you have to provide for the defense attorney. So that would be approximately 125 people that Uncle Bob appears to believe he's going to need subpoenas for. And the hearing for Manafort, guess when that begins? You guessed it, right around September. So they'll be sentencing Flynn in September. They'll be starting the trial for Manafort in September, just a few weeks before the election. That's very well timed, don't you think? Well done, Uncle Bob. Well done. Sure hope you don't have my name on any of them subpoenas. I don't know Paul Manafort. Thank God. If you know Paul Manafort, you're probably going to get a subpoena. You could have been like his playmate in 2nd grade. They'll probably track you down and get you a subpoena and find out what Paul Manafort was doing in the sandbox in 1947. Okay. Arrangements are going to be made on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, on whether to move the Manafort trial, location, or to delay it. I doubt they'll delay it. They want it in September. That's when they can use it politically the most. As far as the location, Manafort's attorneys are trying to get it moved to a different jurisdiction. And of course we just learned yesterday that the lead attack dog for Uncle Bob the Executioner, Mr. Weissman, was briefing the AP reporters on the Manafort situation after a grand jury was seated, which is a problem. And I think that is maybe why they're moving for a change of venue. Man, what a corrupt situation. I mean, just the whole thing is it's beyond corrupt. It's way worse than corrupt. I don't know what the word is. Oh well, if you live in the city of Stockton, California, congratulations, because they have a new proposal now in the city of Stockton, California, where they're going to offer $500 a month of a universal basic income to 100 residents in Stockton. They're going to receive $500 a month for nothing. No work requirement, just free money. It's kind of a test for something they want to roll out statewide in California, which is a universal basic income. Now, they just got through trying this over in Sweden or Finland or somewhere. Some European country tried it for about 2 years, and it was a disastrous failure. Of course it's a disastrous failure. Just giving away free money to people who don't work? How's that work? It doesn't. But that's what they're going to do in Stockton, California, as a test pilot program. And then if it goes well, they'll roll it out to the whole state. Where are they going to get the $500 a person for everybody in California? Working or not, whether you need it or not, you can be rich, you can be a millionaire. They're still going to send you $500 a month. Plus, what does $500 a month in California buy you, really? I mean, it's not a living wage, Bernie. It's not a living wage. It's not $15 an hour. Not $15 an hour. That's not what it is. $500 in California, geez, that's probably couldn't even pay your phone bill. But I guess they feel like that universal basic income is a good idea in California. You know, they've got the ballot measure coming up in California in this November to split the state into 3 Californias. So you have a Northern California, Southern California, and then California. We'll see how that goes. That will be very interesting to see how that vote goes. I think it would be not the greatest idea. I can see a lot of problems with it, but in some cases there may be some good things about it. If your people may be in Southern California that, you know, may be more conservative, maybe that's good. But we'll just have to see how that all pans out. I don't know what to think about all that. I don't live in California. I don't keep up with it all that much. But, here again, just this idea, universal basic income. The fact that we're even floating an idea. The fact that people would even have that idea. People in government would even have that idea. Or that the residents would even allow the politicians to have that idea. You would think that the working residents in California would go, what a stupid idea! But don't know what's going on out in California. What's going on? Heavy metals in the air, something in the water, too many mudslides, too many fires. They've inhaled too much carbon monoxide. I don't know. But there's something going on with the thinking out on the West Coast. They're destroying that state. Unbelievable. What was it? 16,000 phone calls of people in San Francisco about feces on the street, and they want to give away $500 a month. That means more feces, because that means more McDonald's. Because those people, they'll give that money to, that's where they'll spend it. They'll be sitting at McDonald's every day, burning up their $500 universal basic income. Then they'll go lay a pile right in the middle of the street, and then the phones will start ringing. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Administrative bliss. Will get you killed. Well, you just knew that this was going to happen. You just knew it. I knew this was going to happen years ago. But it appears it's finally come to a head in London, and it will spread all around the world, because this is a global movement. I'm talking about the LGBT, which I guess is lesbian, gay, bisexual, transsexual, I think is what that means. Okay, so what happens, there's a big protest or a march or something going on in London. And apparently, in this march, the feminists clashed with the transgenders. Because, see, as I mentioned many years ago, just having fun talking about it one time, feminism is in direct contradiction to transgenderism. The two don't go together. You can't really have both. Okay? Feminists and transgenders are not compatible. They're not. But they've both been in this LGBT thing together for a long time. But it's now finally come to blows, because the two are basically incompatible. So what we had was the L's, that's the lesbians in LGBT. The lesbians had demanded that transgenders be taken out of the group. That's the T's for LGBT. But it didn't work, so it ended up only forcing the L's, the lesbians, only forced them to take themselves out of the group. So they are now demanding that globally, all around the world, wherever the LGBT thing's happening, that L's be taken out of LGBT. They want the L taken out of LGBT. The lesbians do not want to be a part of LGBT anymore, because it includes transsexuals or transgenders, and transgenders are not compatible with the feminists, who the lesbians consider themselves the feminists. They represent the feminists, and they clash with the transgenders because transgenders don't recognize gender. And so there's a problem with that. So now the two are at each other's throats. And now the T's, the transgenders, are accusing the L's, the lesbians, are now being accused of being transphobic. Transphobic. Get ready for that term, folks. It's a new term you're going to be hearing, the transphobic. So as you can see, these liberal, crazy groups turning on themselves, eating themselves, because they're nuts. And you can see where these things don't go together. A lot of things that they stand for don't go together. And on top of that, they're out there saying that no more white men. No more white men. We can't have any more white men. No, white men are the devil. White men are evil. White men are the one that created this whole bad system. The fact of the matter is, white men are the largest voting bloc in the country. When your political party decides that they don't want any more white males in the party, that's a political party that's headed for the dumpster, right along with that dead body that was visiting Huma before she ended up in the dumpster. Can anyone explain that? I'll read the comments section. Thanks for tuning in. See you guys. Bye.